In Ohio, two women fight to get out of jail. Female inmates in a shocking jailbreak.
I thought it was some kind of movie. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
By holding onto the bottom of a moving bus.
Only a stunt person would be able to try something like this.
July 11th, 2005, downtown Columbus, Ohio, the Franklin County Courthouse. Dozens of dangerous prisoners a day are transported from county jails to the courthouse and back in a reinforced sheriff's bus. The bus sits in a locked and gated secure sally port. It's monitored by surveillance cameras, and it's equipped with steel bars on the doors and windows. Amy Morris was a homicide detective with the Columbus Police Department.
I've never heard of anybody escaping from the Franklin County Jail before.
But that doesn't stop two inmates from trying. That day, Tracy Mobley is charged with multiple counts of burglary, theft, possession of drugs, and receiving stolen property. Mary Ann Morrissey, on the other hand, is charged with only a few traffic violations. Strangers, shackled together by a pair of handcuffs, Mobley and Morrissey are led toward the bus in the loading area.
When the line of prisoners was getting on the bus, Tracy and Mary were the last two prisoners of a long line of prisoners.
And that's when they make their move.
Because it's sitting fairly low to the ground, you have to be pretty small to be able to crawl under this bus and then maneuver yourself around so that you're hanging on that frame.
But watch closely. Initially, they were not last in line. Mobley waits for the perfect moment to switch positions.
Tracy Mobley was the ringleader in this. There was no doubt. She was the one who came up with the idea because she had the felony hanging over her head. And Mary Morrissey was just here for misdemeanor traffic things, which she probably would have just gotten a fine.
After their disappearing act, a full 5 seconds ticked by before a sheriff's deputy appears in the loading area. But he doesn't seem to notice anything's amiss.
Doesn't somebody watch the video while the prisoners are going onto the bus? Don't they do a beginning count when they start to go out? Don't they do an ending count on the bus? And then they would have known they were short two prisoners.
Oblivious that two prisoners are underneath the bus instead of inside it, the bus pulls out onto the street. Officer Morris just happens to be standing steps away.
He was pulling out exactly the way he is now, with prisoners aboard like he has right now, and pulled out and probably made it just about right there.
Incredibly, the prisoners cling to the underside of the bus for a full 5 minutes, mere inches off the ground. As the bus stops at a red light, they lose their grip and fall, hitting the ground hard. At some point, their handcuffs come undone.
Tracy Mobley immediately got up and then took off running southbound.
Morris asks a court officer to call for help and runs after Mobley, the one with the extensive rap sheet. Meanwhile, Terry Meyer, a local private detective, just happens to be driving behind the bus when it stops at the light.
They pulled out on the street right here in the second middle lane, and I was right behind him in a small convertible. That's where the two prisoners escaped.
Shell-shocked from the spill, Morrissey doesn't know where to go. She makes a half-hearted attempt to hide right in front of the sheriff's station, realizes that's a bad idea, and wanders back past the jail, slowly. Meyer leaves his car running in the middle of the street and pursues Mary Ann Morrissey.
I thought they were filming a movie somewhere, and I looked all around. I was about to back up because I didn't want to spoil their scene. Then I realized it was a real escape attempt.
He catches up to Morrissey down the block and cuffs her. Within seconds of her escape, Meyer walks the defeated captive back to the courthouse. But nobody at the sheriff's office seems to notice they're missing prisoners.
They were surprised. I said, "You guys want your prisoner back?" And they looked at me like they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know that there had been an attempt to escape.
At the same time, Officer Morris chases Mobley across a busy street and corners her at the edge of the freeway where she's hiding in the bushes.
I'm not sure what she was trying to do because from this point on, there's nowhere to go.
It takes 15 minutes for sheriff's deputies to show up to reclaim their prisoner, whose back is broken from the failed escape. For his efforts, Terry Meyer receives a Sheriff's Valor Award, while Amy Morris gets a thrill from the chase.
I had been a homicide detective for about 10 years, and I had not had to chase anybody for at least 10 years. And so this was almost like going back and being a young officer again.
Tracy Mobley is sentenced to 4 years in prison for her audacious escape attempt and her original charges. Marianne Morrissey gets 3 years probation for the escape attempt.
Tracy was trying to escape, and I think Mary just happened to be there, shackled to the wrong person.